New asylum treaty has been signed today in Kigali, Rwanda, by Home Secretary James Cleverly. In other news as well, and we'll be discussing COP28 in Dubai. The climate conference has got African nations with high number of delegates at the conference. My name is always KBA Japan, and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to this channel and you like the content, consider subscribing, tap the bell notification icon, drop a comment, and let's get engaged on the platform. I really appreciate your time and your presence here on the channel. Thank you for joining me once again. Let's jump straight into it. So it has been in the news for the past month that Britain and Rwanda are in talks. Yes. And basically, most of you have heard what this topic is about, but it's about asylum seekers. Yeah. Now, Britain is overly concerned about the number of people crossing the English Channel from Europe to enter into Great Britain in seek of asylum. And this has, jumped or soared into alarming numbers. And the government is taking measures to curtail this. So today, the Home Secretary was in Kigali, Rwanda, to sign that treaty between the Great Britain and the people or the government of Rwanda. Now, this whole thing, the whole understanding of this whole treaty is that Great Britain wants to send asylum seekers who come to the shores of Great Britain to Rwanda. Yes. So instead of keeping them in the Great Britain, they would rather send them to an African nation called Rwanda, which their leaders have also agreed to it. Now, in a statement by the British government, Britain and Rwanda struck a deal in April 2022 for some migrants who cross the English Channel to be sent to Rwanda, where their asylum claims would be processed, and if successful, they will stay. So there's actually a condition to it. Yeah, if you come onto the shores of Great Britain and you are sent to Rwanda, the process of asylum seeking will be followed, and if you're successful, you get to stay in Rwanda. That is part of the treaty that was signed today. The UK government argues that the deportations would discourage others from making the risky sea crossing and break the business model of people smuggling gangs. So there are some gangs out there who have made it their business to actually get people across the English Channel. And the British government, in wake of this, is trying to send these asylum seekers to Kigali or to the nation called Rwanda to stop these smugglers or to break this smuggling business and get people out of work. This they say will actually discourage people from crossing the English Channel or trying to pay people to take these deadly trips in order to settle in the UK. But the whole thing hasn't been smooth from the beginning. There was a High Court ruling which put an injunction or a stop to the move or to the treaty between Britain and Rwanda. The court raised, some valid concerns in that letter, and they stated that the Supreme Court ruled the plan was illegal because Rwanda is not a safe country for refugees. So one of their concerns is that Rwanda wasn't or is not a safe country for refugees. And we all know the history of Rwanda, where they have come from until now. This is a country that has gone through years and years of genocide and has gone through civil wars and the like. So when it comes to security and safety, the court had concerns in that aspect. But it also went on to say that Britain's top court said asylum seekers faced a real risk of ill treatment and could be returned by Rwanda to their home countries they had fled. So somebody leaves their home, fleeing war, try to get into the United States, the United Kingdom through the English Channel. And it's not only war. Some people are running away from racial abuse. Some people are running away from religious abuse and the likes, you know. And these the British court did made a very valid point, stating that it feared that at some point Rwanda might, send these people back into the very things that they are running away from. Yeah. And I think that's a very fair point, because at some point, I suspect, tiredness and weariness will grow in, and these countries may neglect their responsibilities. So the court actually pinpointed that line, saying that there's fear of people being returned to their home countries where they fled. A real risk of ill treatment was also mentioned in that regard. But the Sunak administration is not just giving up, So they have tried to actually, tackle all the points that the court raised. Yes, in an effort to get the asylum seekers to be sent to Rwanda, they made it their mandate to actually solve all the questions and provide answers to what the High Court raised in that ruling. And since that ruling, Britain has been seeking to renegotiate its agreement with Rwanda to include a binding treaty. A binding treaty. Now, to the people of Rwanda and to the government of Rwanda, I think you guys need to take a critical look at this agreement. Yeah, because since the ruling of the court, Britain has been seeking to renegotiate its agreement with Rwanda to include a binding treaty. Now, a binding treaty, which means that you cannot do otherwise. If you say yes, it must be yes. They are holding you to your words. That's what it means, actually. A binding treaty that would not expel asylum seekers sent there by Britain, one of the court's major concerns. So that has been in the works all these months, and that's why Home Secretary James Cleverly is currently in Kigali and has signed the agreement or the treaty, which includes what the court, brought out, that this treaty must have a binding agreement that Rwanda is not going to send asylum seekers back to the countries they are running away from. Rwanda is not going to ill-treat these asylum seekers. Now, the details of this agreement will be made public when all is said and done. But this is the bulk of it. This is the bulk of the whole thing. Now, what does Rwanda get in return? Why will Rwanda say that if the United Kingdom doesn't want asylum seekers in their country, or those that do not pass the process to be in their country, we want them in our country? What will inspire another African country to do this? Now, there's some juicy offers in there. In return for this favor, Rwanda is trying to do the UK. The African nation has received an initial payment of £140 million. That's $180 million. So the government of Rwanda and the people of Rwanda have already pocketed that money. £140 million has already been disbursed to the account of the Rwandan government. Yeah, the money has already been taken. So from all angles, you see that this treaty or this agreement will anyhow come into force. Yeah. It's already done. It's just left with some final paperwork. So whoever says that, oh, this is not going to take place or this is some joke, no. Rwanda has already received 140 million pounds. It's already been dispersed to them. You see? It's already been dispersed. The money has been dispersed to them. It's in their account. They're just waiting for the asylum seekers for the first batch to arrive. Now, all of this stalled because of the court ruling. That's why this process has delayed. Yeah. So 140 million pounds has already been received with the promise of more money to fund the accommodation and care of any deported individual. So that's the 140 million pounds is not just it. There is more promise of more money to fund the accommodation and care of any deported individual. So it's an ongoing process. Now, Rwanda is trying to capitalize on this whole agenda to get funding for development. Yeah, the Foreign Secretary of Rwanda did mention that this, agreement or the funding that will be coming into the country will create jobs and employment, will help them improve public sector and social amenities. And that's why they're doing it. She also stated that, the Foreign Secretary of Rwanda also stated that, considering the history of Rwanda and what they've gone through, refugees and asylum seekers have a special place in their hearts and in their country. Hence this decision. A bit of advice to the Rwandan government. Yeah. Whilst all this seems so juicy and so nice, a humble plea. Please use the money given to you for the intended purposes. 140 million pounds with more to come. Let's see results from these funds. Let not these funds go into the pockets of just one person. Prioritize your people, provide social amenities as you've promised, improve health, improve public sector, improve daily livelihood from these monies, create employment, expand the economy, offer education to whoever needs it. And let's create some positivity out of this. There are some few, ups and downs with it. There are some pros and cons to this whole treaty and to this whole scheme. Now, Rwanda can benefit massively from this if they really, really, really sit down critically to put in a lot of work. On the other side, there also comes the social vices aspect of it. You're getting all these new people into your country. The rate of crimes may rise, unemployment may increase, and what have you. But it's always good to look at the positive side and try to, let it shadow the negatives. That's why they are providing you this money to actually take care of the people, fund the accommodation and care of these refugees and asylum seekers. Now, to the people who are trying to cross the English Channel from Europe, this is the bold step from the Sunak administration. They are trying to send a signal to the rest of the world that you cannot go into somebody's country illegally. And if you're trying to cross the English Channel, you end up in Rwanda. Thank you very much. On to the next story for the day. COP28 is ongoing in Dubai. Yes, the climate conference is still ongoing and African nations are in the news again, as always. Now, according to the UN attendance list for COP28. Nigeria, Morocco, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and Uganda were among the nations with the largest teams. Why? Why do African countries and African leaders keep doing this? Every summit, every conference, every opportunity they get, they try to carry the whole nation to these conferences. Why? Why? We are just going to discuss about climate change and decide and deliberate on new laws to help humanity. According to the news, Nigeria topped the list with 1,411 delegates. 1,411 delegates. That is a whole government officials. What at all are these people going to do at this summit? 1,411 delegates from just Nigeria alone. My people, you are just wasting resources. Wasting resources. Followed by Morocco with 823 and Kenya 765. Responding to the criticisms, representatives from Nigeria and Kenya clarified that a significant portion of their delegation comprised individuals representing the media, social society organizations, and private institutions who were not publicly funded. Both countries also emphasized that some listed delegates were participating remotely. This is not true. Yeah, this is not true. Because when government are traveling, their delegation and all those people, it is the government that funds them. You use taxpayers' money to fund 1,411 delegates to just go and sit at a conference. What will those 1,411 people hear that when you take 10, 20 people, those people won't hear? African leaders, tell me. 823 people for Morocco. Morocco. If you take 10 people to the COP28 conference, can't those 10 people listen to whatever is said at the conference and come and relate to the rest? If you take 5 media men, can they report for the whole nation? Kenya with 765 people. What are you people doing? Yeah? You are just wasting public funds. And at the end of the day, you tax the ordinary African. 765 people, 823 people, 1,411 delegates. Why? You paid flight ticket for each person. Each person ate, each person drank, each person slept in a hotel. Come on. Come on. These countries that you go to take the loans from them, they bring 5 people, 10 people, 6 people to these conferences. It's a climate conference, not fanfare, not merrymaking, not a holiday. Please, African leaders, respect the citizens and respect the taxpayers. Thank you very much.